Welcome to another session of our Express course. In today's lesson, we will discuss how to import dynamically, or something like that, roads. We are going to start with something basic. So let's maybe break it down in smaller pieces. And I think it could be a good idea starting with the just try to read individually each file inside a folder. So first of all, we are going to start creating the roads folder. In this case, let's make it simple. I don't care if this will be the final name. It's not a big deal about that. So let's create roads, and maybe I can, I don't know. Well, depend. We can use, for example, root ts, and after that we can follow a guideline or a convention about the names. For example, if I want to create, I don't know, Crislo, I have to use Crislo ts, and I think that's all. So let's let this in this way, and after that we are going to create the function that allows to read the files inside a folder. So we are going to use async await. I prefer that way instead of using the well the modest way, or maybe the old way that people used to say with then, catch, and something like promise. So in this case, we are going to use async await. So to make it simple, again, we are going to save the function inside this file for a moment. And after that, we are going to use the respective file name for this function just right there. So let's start creating an async function. Let's call it like files in folder. So we are going to get the files inside a specific folder. And in this case, we are going to use the folder path. Maybe we can use right there a string, and that's it. Maybe like a good practice, we can use a try catch just to handle errors. I highly recommend do this kind of things and use console error and just something like maybe we can use error on the folder path, and after that the error itself, and throw again the error if we want to propagate itself. Well, I think it's better you just call it like error, and that's it. After that, we are going to obtain the entries from the directory. Entries is the same like files. And we are going to use the function read directory from the module fs, or file system. So going to keep and use, remember, node fs promise, because the old one is using callback, and callback is even old than promise. So, well, then catch. So I prefer use promise, and with that the async await. And we are going to use the redir, and the other library is join from node path. That's it, that's enough. So let's pack again and use redir. We are going to pass the folder path, and we are going to pass an option with file types true to know if we are talking about files or directories. That maybe, depending on the context, is important. And okay, let me see. That's nice. And after that, we are going to filter the files because we don't know if because read there returns files, folder, symbolic links, all inside this folder, just right there. So we can, well, we should filter only the files. So in this way, we are going to use entries and use a filter. This entry, we are going to give the following instruct. Well, this is a conditional. So entry dot is file. We only need to know if it's a file. After that, we can compute if ends with ts or .js. There is something interesting behind that and more. And after that, we are going to path the file and add the absolute root, or well, the absolute root, because we only have, if we just right there without the map, we have chrysler.ts, root.ts, but we don't have the absolute path. So we need the absolute path because the absolute path gives to the, well, to Node.js, hey, the file is inside document, sync, course, express, source, route, chrysler. So that is important. So let's map again entry. Well, in this case, it's not a long entry at all. It's a file, so we can name like a file, but let's give like entry, and we are going to use the join and use the folder path, and after that the entry dot name to preserve or just keep the original file name, and after that is enough. We have the files. Remove this one. And maybe if you have some questions, it's pretty simple. We're going to pass the folder path, you right here, right there. After that, we are going to use the read dir that is gonna give us the, well, read the directory is gonna give us all inside this directory. We can pass some arguments like this one that allows to, oh, I'm sorry, switch profile. This is not one. Switch profile. Okay, I'm using this one, but save. Okay, format. Document. Okay, I have to configure this one. And I have biome, but I don't know why I'm not using biome. So let's use this for a moment. Well, we are going to use the file type because this tool allows to return the each instance using, well, this with this kind of method that allows to know if we are talking about a file, a directory, and more. So in this section we have we don't have files at all, so we are going to use entries, and we are going to apply a filter. The filters allows to just pass a conditional, and if this conditional is true, it's gonna include this in the array. Returns the elements on an array that meet the condition specified in the callback function. This is the callback function you right there. And after that, once we already have the file names, let's use map. Map just apply a certain instruction above a file or something like this. Just like, for example, I don't know, if we have 10 files using map, we are going to apply the same procedure or predicament or the same action to the 10 files. So calls a defined callback function. The callback function is about to make a specific change on each element of an array and returns an array that contains the results. So in this case, we only we are going to join the absolute path with the entry name to keep the, well, keep it the absolute path. So don't worry, we're going to see the result in a moment. So I think that's enough. Maybe I'm thinking about how can I use the absolute path. Give me a sec. Folder path. Let's see. Let's try this. So the way I'm going to try this is just like once the server has been started. So let's use. Okay, I can't use you right there because Okay, let's do some magic. I'm going to use this instruction redirect just right there to execute an asynchronous task without problems. That's nice. So don't worry, this is maybe you don't know what I'm doing right now is I am creating, well, we are going to start creating a function like the classic way, but this function itself, uh, we don't save this one to a specific, I don't know, variable and more. So this is like oh well, is well as known as a anonymous function because it doesn't have a reference to be called. It's common use anonymous function just in this way, like a parameter to a function, because the function are going to use that function after. But in this context, we are called the function, and at the same time we create the function. It's something like this is tricky, and maybe in some scenarios this is useful. In my case, I'm going to use this to give a synchronous context to can perform this function just right there, because I can use, well, depending on the Node.js context and the TypeScript configuration, I can use await just right there, something like get files in folder, but I'm not sure if I can do something like that. Okay, I'm using top level await. Well, there are two ways to make it this, and the reason why I'm going to explain this one also is just let you know that you can also use this one, and already you know that maybe this looks weird, but it's important to know that this even exists in Node.js. So maybe to achieve the same thing you right there. So we have to just preserve the asynchronous function, and we are going to use the aggregation operator or something like that. It's just like, hey, take this information you right there and keep it for a moment. So that's mean in this section you right there we have an anonymous function, but this give us an error because it's taking this parenthesis like an argument. Is something so weird because maybe I have to use this one. Okay, that's nice. We have to use the semicolon to tell to the, well, JavaScript runtime and TypeScript, hey, the function ends just right there, because if we remove this one, the function or this thing believes that this is the parenthesis that allows to execute the function like the traditional way. If you know, we use parentheses to execute a function. So in this case, take it in that way. Also, it's common use these functions, and at the beginning of the line use semicolon, has the same effect. But if I save, okay, if I save doesn't happen. Okay, that's nice. Well, I prefer use in this way. And after that, we have to execute the function. So it's enough using this one just right there. But also we can save again this execution context in other parentheses just to maybe try to encapsulate the logic. So we can add another level, and that's it. We have the same result. It's maybe something crazy, but yeah, welcome to JavaScript. This is from JavaScript. Don't believe that TypeScript give this. It's just like JavaScript. So in this context, we're going to use await get files in folder and take the result. Result is equals to this one, and use console log result. Let's execute the program and see what's happened. Okay, we have the not such file or directory in roads, but on code section. Okay, this is interesting. Because might you think that, hey, but if we have roads, you right there, why we don't read the file? And depends on the absolute path. So let me see something, just like to make ignore this section. I just performing a short test about this. And after that express, we have source and roads. So let's see, we have the files inside roads. This is roads. So let's see what's happened. Just right there, yours again. Well, as you can see, maybe depends, but we have the files inside of root. Yeah, I already know what it is, and is the reason behind this is because we can use a relative path. We have to use the absolute path, but if we use this program in another server, how we know what will be the absolute path? So don't worry, we have variables that allows to know, or well, allows to handle the absolute path of the project. So let's use this one. Maybe in older versions from Node.js, may you see something like dir name and file name, but this expression doesn't work anymore, and we have a new modern approach. I don't remember the approach, so allow me to use ChatGPT to generate the code because I don't remember it all, and I never remember this one. So use the modern approach. I think is with double P. I don't know. And this is the new approach. So you're welcome. Accept. That's nice. Maybe we have to use Node, right? And we can use dir name in this section, and that's nice. And yeah, this allows to use this environment variable, import meta URL, create the URL to path, and after that we can access, or we have, let me see right there, that's it. And we have access to the file name, and based on the file name, we can just extract or remove the file name, and just get the path or the directory name, including all the absolute path. The absolute path is important. And as you can see, maybe let me execute the program again, and as you can see, we have a dir name. Maybe these variables, this procedure, and this function, we are going to move this to another file, so don't worry about it. And I think that's it. That's all for today. I prefer to explain very detailed for each step that is involved in this process, and I hope you understand how we so yeah, I just try to say that it's important to understand each step, because this is not about just for the web server. This also allow to know, or maybe give us information, maybe how to use the standard node libraries like file system, path, URL, and maybe this is a pretty extensive used, because this is the modern approach how to handle file name and dir name dynamically, and maybe try to interact with the file system. And after that, we already covered how to read files, maybe apply some filters. But after this result, we are going to apply a new filter, and it's based on the file extensions, because we don't end at all. Because remember that in the developer environment we use .ts, but remember that this code will be executed in a Node.js JavaScript vanilla environment. So in JavaScript vanilla, as you can see, we have .js, not .ts. So that is important once we are going to execute this. And well, maybe we are going to insert about different environment variables, depending if we are in a development environment, or if we're using a production environment. So that's pretty important. And in the following episode, we are going to cover all about that. So I hope this video was helpful, and see you in the next time. Bye bye.